How are you guys doing? Today is Wednesday, March 3rd, 2021, out here in this quarantine. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, I'm going to review the Elite performances and matchups from yesterday, Tuesday, March 2nd, and of course, I'm going to preview everything that's going on today as we navigate through the world of sports one day at a time. With the NFL having finished its Super Bowl last month and the MLB entering spring training, but not the actual regular season, I'm going to get started in the NBA. And just to get started in Boston, the Boston Celtics hosted the Los Angeles Clippers, and they were able to pull off a 117-112 win. And in this matchup, the Boston Celtics were able to outscore the Clippers by 6 in the fourth quarter and they were able to overtake them and pick up their 18th win of the season. For the Los Angeles Clippers in this matchup, their starting point guard, Reggie Jackson, would finish with 25 points and 7 rebounds in 37 minutes as he shot 10 for 14 from the field and 5 for 6 from 3. And the leading scorer for the Los Angeles Clippers would be their elite starting shooting guard, Paul George, who finished with 32 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists in 39 minutes as he shot 12 for 26 from the field, 5 for 15 from 3, and a perfect 3 for 3 from the line. And for the Boston Celtics, their elite starting small forward, Jason Tatum, would finish with 14 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals in 40 minutes as the Duke product shot 5 for 16 from the field, 1 for 5 from 3, and a perfect 3 for 3 from the line. And the leading scorer for the Boston Celtics would be their elite starting point guard, Kemba Walker, who finished with 25 points, 4 rebounds, and 6 assists in 34 minutes as he shot 8 for 19 from the field, 6 for 12 from 3, and 3 for 4 from the line. With this win, the Boston Celtics are now 18-17. Looking down to the Eastern Conference, they currently hold the 4th best record in the conference. In the playoff picture, they are 3 full games behind the 3rd place Milwaukee Bucks as the Celtics have won their last 3 games and have won 5 of their last 10. They also sit half a game ahead of the 5th place Toronto Raptors and the 6th place New York Knicks within the division. And with this loss, the Los Angeles Clippers are currently 24-13. That is the 4th best record in the Western Conference as they now trail the defending champs Los Angeles Lakers and now the Phoenix Suns by half a game. They currently sit 3 full games ahead of the 5th place San Antonio Spurs, the 6th place Portland Trailblazers, and the 7th place Denver Nuggets at the moment, as they currently sit 4 full games behind the Utah Jazz as they've lost their last 2 games. Jumping out to the other big matchup of the night, the Los Angeles Lakers hosted the Phoenix Suns, and in this matchup, the Phoenix Suns were able to beat the defending champs 114-104 after outscoring the Lakers by 8 in the first quarter and 7 in the fourth. For the Los Angeles Lakers in this matchup, their leading scorer would be their goated small forward, LeBron James, out of St. Vincent St. Mary High School, as he would finish with 38 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, and 2 steals in 38 minutes as he shot 16 for 24 from the field, 3 for 8 from 3, and 3 for 5 from the free throw line. And for the Phoenix Suns in this matchup, their elite starting point guard Chris Paul would finish with 8 points, 5 rebounds, and 10 assists in 33 minutes as he shot 1 for 4 from the field, 1 for 3 from 3, and 5 for 6 from the line. Their elite starting shooting guard Devin Booker would finish with 17 points, 3 rebounds, and 6 assists, as well as 3 steals in 24 minutes as he shot 7 for 12 from the field, 1 for 3 from 3, and a perfect 2 for 2 from the line. And the leading scorer for the Phoenix Suns would be their power forward off the bench, Dario Saric, who finished with 21 points and 5 rebounds in 26 minutes as he shot 7 for 17 from the field, 2 for 5 from 3, and 5 for 6 from the line. With this win, the Phoenix Suns are now 23-11 as they hold the 2nd best record in the Western Conference win percentage-wise. In the playoff picture, they and the Los Angeles Lakers are both sitting 3.5 games behind the Western Conference leading Utah Jazz, and they also sit half a game ahead of the 4th place Los Angeles Clippers as the Suns have won their last 3 games and 8 of their last 10. And then with this loss, the Los Angeles Lakers are 24-12. They have 1 more win and 1 more loss than the Suns. Like I just said, both these teams are sitting 3.5 games behind the Utah Jazz and half the game ahead of the Los Angeles Clippers. Jumping out to Washington, D.C., the Washington Wizards hosted the Memphis Grizzlies, and in this one, the Grizzlies would end up beating the Wizards 125-111 after a big second quarter where they outscored the Wizards by 13. For the Washington Wizards in this matchup, their elite starting point guard, Russell Westbrook, would tie for the team high with Bradley Beal. Westbrook would finish with 23 points, 6 rebounds, 15 assists, and 3 steals, as well as 8 turnovers in 36 minutes, as Westbrook shot 8 for for 16 from the field, 3 for 7 from 3, and 4 for 9 from the line. And then tied with them for the team lead, Bradley Beal, their elite starting shooting guard, finished with 23 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, and 6 turnovers in 36 minutes as he shot 8 for 18 from the field, 1 for 4 from 3, and a perfect 6 for 6 from the line. For the Memphis Grizzlies in this matchup, off the bench, their shooting guard out of USC and Cresby High School. I know that because I went to high school in Los Angeles. DeAnthony Melton would finish with 20 points and 5 assists, as well as 2 steals in 26 minutes as he shot 6 for 11 from the field, 6 for 10 from 3, and a perfect 2 for 2 from the line. Their starting shooting guard out of Oregon, Dylan Brooks, would finish with 20 points and 2 steals in 31 minutes as he shot 8 for 19 from the field and a perfect 2 for 2 from the line. And their elite starting point guard, John Morant, would lead the team and the game in scoring as he finished with 35 points, 5 rebounds, and 10 assists. As the second-year product of the Murray State would shoot 11 for 18 from the field in 33 minutes. He shot 2 for 3 from 3 and 11 for 14 from the free throw line. With this win, the Memphis Grizzlies are 16-15. That is the 9th best record in the Western Conference, win percentage-wise. They are currently sitting 1 game behind the Golden State Warriors outside of the playoff picture looking in, as they have won their last 2 games and 6 of their last 10. And then with this loss, the Washington Wizards are 13-20. That is the 3rd worst record in the Eastern Conference, as they are currently sitting 2.5 games behind the Charlotte Hornets in the playoff pictures. They have lost their last 2 games, but they still won 7 of their last 10. Jumping out really quickly to Miami, the reigning Eastern Conference champions hosted the Atlanta Hawks. This would be the Atlanta Hawks' first game with new coach Nate McMillan. And in this one, the Hawks would end up beating the Heat 94-80 after outscoring Miami by 17 points in the 4th quarter, 31-14. And for the Miami Heat in this matchup, their leading scorer would be their starting shooting guard, Duncan Robinson, who finished with 14 points in 31 minutes as he shot 5 for 11 from the field and 4 for 9 from 3. And additionally, their elite starting center, Bam Adebayo, would finish with 11 points, 2 rebounds, and 3 assists in 33 minutes as he shot 3 for 8 from the field and 5 for 6 from the free throw line. For the Atlanta Hawks in this matchup, their leading scorer would be their elite starting point guard, Trae Young, who finished with 18 points, 3 rebounds, 10 assists, and 8 turnovers in 33 minutes. As Young shot 5 for 12 from the field, 4 for 9 from 3, and 4 for 5 from the free throw line. With this win, the Atlanta Hawks are now sitting at 15-20. That is the 5th worst record in the Eastern Conference, as they currently sit a game and a half behind the Charlotte Hornets in the playoff picture, as they've lost 6 of their last 10. And they currently sit 8 games behind the first place Philadelphia 76ers. And with this loss, the Miami Heat are now 17-18. That is the 7th best record in the Eastern Conference. In the playoff picture, they are sitting half a game behind the 5th place Toronto Raptors and the 6th place New York Knicks. And they also sit half a game ahead of the 8th place Charlotte Hornets, as the Heat have won 6 of their last 10, just to give a sense of where they stand in the East. Jumping out to San Antonio. The San Antonio Spurs hosted the New York Knicks, and in this one, the Spurs would end up beating the Knicks 119-93 after outscoring the Knicks by 15 in the 3rd and then 4 in the 4th, so they outscored them by 22 points in the second half. For the New York Knicks, in this matchup, their leading scorer would be their rookie shooting guard off the bench, Emmanuel Quickley, who finished with 26 points in 29 minutes. As he scored those points very quickly, pun intended, he would end up shooting 8 for 21 from the field, 6 for 13 from 3, and a perfect 4 for 4 from the line. And for the San Antonio Spurs, their leading scorer would be their starting power forward out of Kentucky, as Trey Lyles would finish with 18 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 steals in 30 minutes. As Lyle shot 7 for 13 from the field and 4 for 6 from 3. With this win, the San Antonio Spurs are 18-13. That is the 5th best record in the Western Conference. In the playoff picture, they currently sit 3 games behind the 4th seed Los Angeles Clippers, and the 6th place Trailblazers and the 7th place Denver Nuggets currently sit 1 full game ahead of the 8th place Golden State Warriors, as the Spurs have won 7 of their last 10 games. With this loss, the New York Knicks are 18-18. That is the 6th best record in the Eastern Conference. In the playoff picture, they and the 5th place Toronto Raptors now trail the 4th place Boston Celtics by half a game. And they also sit half a game ahead of the Miami Heat, as the Knicks, as a team, they've won 7 of their last 10 despite this loss. Jumping out to Milwaukee for the last game that I'm going to cover from last night, the Milwaukee Bucks hosted the Denver Nuggets, and in this one, the Nuggets would get the best of the Bucks, outscoring them 128-97. After outscoring Milwaukee by 14 in the first quarter, and then they outscored them by 17 in the second half. For the Milwaukee Bucks in this matchup, their starting small forward, Chris Middleton, would finish with 20 points and 6 assists in 29 minutes as he shot 6 for 12 from the field, 3 for 6 from 3, and 5 for 8 from the line. And their leading scorer would be their elite starting power forward, reigning back-to-back NBA MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo, who finished with 27 points, 8 rebounds, and 3 assists, as well as 2 blocks in 33 minutes as he shot 10 for 15 from the field and 7 for 10 from the free throw line. And for the Denver Nuggets in this matchup, their elite starting point guard Jamal Murray would finish with 24 points, 3 rebounds, 6 assists, and 2 steals in 38 minutes as he shot 10 for 17 from the field, 1 for 5 from 3, and a perfect 3 for 3 from the line. And the leading scorer for the Denver Nuggets would be their elite starting center, their MVP candidate Nicola Yokitch, who finished with 37 points, 10 rebounds, 11 assists, and 2 steals on the night. As I think he had the best performance of the night. In 36 minutes, he would end up shooting 15 for 23 from the field, 2 for 3 from 3, and a perfect 5 for 5 from the line. With this win, the Denver Nuggets now stand at 20-15. That is the 7th best record in the Western Conference win percentage-wise. In the playoff picture, they sit alongside the 5th place San Antonio Spurs and the 6th place Portland Trail Blazers, as they all sit 3 games behind the 4th seed Los Angeles Clippers, and they all sit 1 game ahead of the 8th place Golden State Warriors in the playoff picture. As the Nuggets as a team, they've won their last 3 games. That is tied for the best win streak in the Western Conference with the Phoenix Suns. And then with this loss, the Milwaukee Bucks are now 21-14. As that is the 3rd best record in the Eastern Conference. In the playoff picture, they sit a game and a half behind the 2nd place Brooklyn Nets, and they sit 3 full games ahead of the 4th place Boston Celtics. And they've won 5 of their last 10 games, as the Nuggets were able to give them a bit of trouble. And that's currently what the NBA is looking like as of right now, as we look forward to what's going on with today's games, as we jump into Wednesday, March 3rd. Starting with the primetime matchups at 7:30, the Houston Rockets are going to host the Brooklyn Nets, as James Harden's going to face off against his former team. And then following that at 10 o'clock, the Portland Trail Blazers are going to host the Golden State Warriors, as both teams have 19 wins on the season. And you see 2 point guards going at each other who are both averaging at least 29.5 points per game this season. Outside of the primetime games, at 7 o'clock, the Cleveland Cavaliers are going to host the Indiana Pacers. The Philadelphia 76ers are going to host the Utah Jazz, and the Toronto Raptors are going to host the Detroit Pistons. In Tampa, at 8 o'clock, the Orlando Magic are going to host the Atlanta Hawks. The Minnesota Timberwolves are going to host the Charlotte Hornets. The New Orleans Pelicans are going to host the Chicago Bulls. At 8:30, the Dallas Mavericks are going to host the Oklahoma City Thunder. And then at 10 o'clock, the Sacramento Kings are going to host the defending NBA champs, the Los Angeles Lakers, at 10 o'clock. Staying within basketball, but now jumping into college. Second-ranked Michigan hosted fourth-ranked Illinois, and in this game, the Fighting Illini would beat the Wolverines by 23 points on the road, as Trent Frazier put up 22 points. With this win, fourth-ranked Illinois is 19-6, as they are now 15-4 in the Big Ten, and with this loss, second-ranked Michigan is 18-2, as they are 13-2 in the Big Ten. Sixth-ranked West Virginia hosted third-ranked Baylor, as Baylor was able to pull off the 5-point win in overtime, winning 94-89 behind Jared Butler's 25 points and 6 assists. With this win, third-ranked Baylor is 19-1, as they are 11-1 in the Big 12. With this loss, sixth-ranked West Virginia is 17-7, as they are 10-5 in the Big 12. Also, eighth-ranked Alabama hosted their in-state rival Auburn, as Alabama was able to pull off the 12-point win over Auburn, winning 70-58 behind Jaden Shackelford's 23 points and 2 steals. With this win, eighth-ranked Alabama is 20-6, as they are 15-2 in the SEC. And with this loss, unranked Auburn is 12-14, as they are 6-11 in the SEC. Also, unranked South Carolina hosted 12th-ranked Arkansas, and in this one, Arkansas was able to pull off the 101-73 win behind Moses Moody's 28 points. With this win, 12th-ranked Arkansas is 20-5, as they are 12-4 in the SEC, and with this loss, unranked South Carolina is 6-13, as they are 4-11 in the SEC. Unranked Iowa State hosted 15th-ranked Texas as well, and in this one, Kai Jones would lead the way with 17 points and 8 rebounds, as 15th ranked Texas would pull off the 14-point win over Iowa State, winning 81-67. With this win, 15th ranked Texas is 15-7 as they are 9-6 in the Big 12, and unranked Iowa State is 2-19 as they are 0-16 in the Big 12. Also, 18th ranked Texas Tech hosted unranked TCU, and in this game, the Red Raiders would beat the Horned Frogs 69-49 behind Kyler Edwards' 20 points. With this win, 18th ranked Texas Tech is now 16-8 as they are 8-7 in the Big 12, and with this loss, unranked TCU is 12-11 as they are 5-9 in the Big 12. And last but not least, 23rd ranked Purdue hosted 25th ranked Wisconsin, and in this game, the Boilermakers were able to beat the Badgers 73-69 as their center, Zach Ide, sorry if I butchered your name, he led the way with 21 points and 7 rebounds. With this win, 23rd ranked Purdue is 17-8 as they are 12-6 in the Big Ten, and with this loss, 25th ranked Wisconsin is 16-10 as they are 10-9 in the Big Ten. Looking forward to what's going on today within college basketball at 8:30, 10th ranked Villanova will host 4th ranked Creighton. That game's going to be on FS1. At 9 o'clock, 11th ranked Florida State is going to host unranked Boston College on ACC Network. And then at 9 o'clock, unranked UNLV will host 19th ranked San Diego State. And I don't think that game's going to be on TV. Jumping out to the NHL just to get a glance of what's going on there, because these teams have to play within their own division. That's why these teams are playing against each other so often. Starting off in Canada, the Winnipeg Jets were able to beat the Vancouver Canucks 5-2 as the number one star of the game would be their starting goalie, Brossoit, as he finished with 31 saves on the night as the Jets picked up their 14th win of the season. With this win, the Winnipeg Jets now hold the second best record in the North Division as they trail the first place Toronto Maple Leafs by 7 points. And the Montreal Canadiens hosted the Ottawa Senators as they were able to win 3-1, led by their center Kotkaniemi. He would be the big star of the game, and their right winger Gallagher would finish with a goal and an assist. With their 10th win of the season, the Montreal Canadiens now have the 4th best record in the North Division as they trail the first place Toronto Maple Leafs by a total of 11 points in the table. Jumping out to the Eastern Division, the New York Islanders were able to beat the New Jersey Devils in Jersey 2-1 as all the goals in this game were scored in the third period. Their goalie, Varlamov, would lead the way as he had 28 saves on the night. And with their 12th win of the season, the New York Islanders are currently sitting with the they're tied with the Capitals for the best standing in the East Division as both of these teams now have 28 points. And they currently lead the third place Boston Bruins by 2 in the table. Jumping out to New York, the Rangers were able to beat the Buffalo Sabres 3-2 as 2 of their goals came in the first period, led by their right winger Buchnevich as he had a goal and an assist. And with their 8th win of the season, the New York Rangers are currently sitting with the 6th best record in the Eastern Division as they trail the first place Capitals and Islanders by a total of 9 points in the table. Jumping out to Pittsburgh, the Penguins were able to beat the Flyers 5-2 as 3 of their goals came in the third. Their leading scorer would be their right winger Kapanen as he had 2 goals himself. And then for Philadelphia, their left winger Farabee would have 2 goals for himself. He had both the goals for Philadelphia. With their 12th win of the season, the Pittsburgh Penguins now hold on to the 5th best standing or the 4th best standing in the East Division alongside the Philadelphia Flyers, as both of these teams now sit 3 full points behind the first place Capitals and Islanders. And then jumping out to the Central, just to get a sense of what's going on out there, the Columbus Blue Jackets were able to beat the Detroit Red Wings 4-1 as 3 of their goals came into the second period. For Columbus, their biggest star would be their right winger Atkinson as he had a goal and an assist. And with their 9th win of the season, the Columbus Blue Jackets are currently sitting 5th in the table as they sit 8 full points behind the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Carolina Hurricanes. And then speaking of the Hurricanes were able to beat the Predators 4-2 as they were able to score in every period. Their right winger Aho would lead the way with 2 goals himself. With their 15th win of the season, the Carolina Hurricanes are tied with the Lightning for the best standing at 31 points. They sit 1 point over the Florida Panthers. And then speaking of the Lightning were able to beat the Stars 2-0 as they scored in the first and third period. And their goalie Vasilevsky would end up keeping a clean sheet against the Dallas Stars. With their 15th win of the season, the Lightning now have as many points as the Hurricanes with 2 less games played. So, I mean, that gives a little bit of, that puts, I guess that gives them the opportunity to possibly create space if they were to play the same amount of games this season. And then looking out to what's going on today in the NHL, at least going through the primetime matchups. At 7 o'clock, the Boston Bruins will host the Washington Capitals on NBC Sports Network. And immediately following that at 9:30, the Anaheim Ducks will host the St. Louis Blues. And then at 10:30, the San Jose Sharks will host the Colorado Avalanche. And that game will be on ESPN+. And last but not least, looking out to what's going on in the world of soccer, without Champions League, there are a good amount of games that are going on in the middle of the week. Starting in the Premier League, of course, Manchester City was able to win yet another game, and they have now won they have gone 21 straight games without losing, which is completely insane. And in this game, 2 of their goals will come from their Brazilian striker, Gabriel Jesus. And with this 4-1 win, they now sit 15 points ahead of second place Manchester United with one more game played. So, the fact that they're 15 points above and the season's really coming to a close, you really can just wrap the season up for Man City, but they still have to finish the season strong. Looking out to the German Pokal, which is their German... with the German domestic cup, Borussia Dortmund was able to beat Borussia Mönchengladbach off of a goal in the 66th minute from their elite English forward, Jadon Sancho, off the assist from Marco Reus. And then looking out to Italian Serie A, Juventus was able to beat Spezia as they beat them 3-0, as all three of their goals would come in the second half. Their third goal coming in the 89th minute from their goated Portuguese forward Cristiano Ronaldo. And of course, with these 3 points and the 3 points in the table, Juventus now sits third in Serie A as they trail second place AC Milan by 7 points, as they could overtake them, and they sit 7 full points behind first place Inter Milan. But of course, that'll be a long way from here, but it was good for them to get the win at this very point because they definitely needed a win. Looking out to what's going on today, starting off in the Premier League, Crystal Palace will host Man United, and like I just said, Man United currently sits second in the table, and I imagine if they want to have a chance of winning the table, they might as well win this one, as they sit 15 points behind Manchester City with one less game played. So I guess a win here could knock them down 12, but I don't know if they would do much. In the German Pokal, RB Leipzig will host Wolfsburg at 2:45. That game's going to be on ESPN News. And then in the Serie A, AC Milan will host Udinese. And going back to where AC Milan is currently in second place of the table, and they're currently under threat of dropping below Juventus at the moment, as they currently trail Inter by 4, and they sit 3 points ahead of Juve. So a win here would be very important. It would be very huge. And then looking at the Spanish Copa del Rey, Barcelona will host Sevilla for the second leg as Sevilla leads 2-0 on aggregate. This game will be at 3 o'clock. And then in France, Ligue 1, Bordeaux will host PSG at 3 o'clock. Also, Olympique Lyonnais will host Stade Rennes at 1 o'clock. And then Lille will host Marseille at 3. The only reason I bring up all three of these teams together is because they all sit really close to one another in Ligue 1. Since they all play today, we very well could see a shakeup in the Ligue 1 table. Lille sits at the very top as they sit 2 points ahead of PSG. And PSG sits 1 point over Lyon. At the very best, Lyon could see themselves overtaking Lille today. It's very possible if PSG and Lille both lose. But, with France, you never know. So this is going to be very interesting to see how these games develop as well. Once again, I want to thank everyone for listening to this piece. I want to thank ESPN.com, of course, for having me for making this information available for me, kind of just to read off the stats and the figures like this. Once again, I want to thank everyone for listening to all 24 minutes of this piece. I hope all is well, and I will come back to you with a piece once all of these exhibitions and games are finished. I'll get back to you tomorrow on Thursday, March 4th, 2021. And after this, I do have a couple of individual profiles, so I'll get right to those immediately. I want to thank you all once again, and peace out. I'll catch you tomorrow.